Hello and welcome to Gold Grand Prix Halle an der Saale here in Germany. Today we are 96 players, meaning we have 3 invites for the Gold World Championship, and we are playing 7 rounds cut to top 16, and we will feature every single round. And with we, I mean myself. I am Philip, aka Return Winner, and I am joined by...
my name is Simon, and I'm here to support our dear Return Winner as best as I can.
Yeah, you bring the best in me to the surface every time we talk. Every time.
For round 1 we have a prominent face in the scene.
I would say, or a prominent screen name.
A screen name. We got JCVD.
Jean-Claude Van Damme himself for round 1. What more can you ask for?
Yes, exactly. And we got his opponent.
Is Dennis?
Dennis, yes.
Dennis is a name I am myself not familiar with yet.
But after this game we sure will know what he's up to.
Yeah, this might change real quick. So we don't see the field right now, so maybe... It's round 1, we still have to figure out. And they're already going! Oh my god, we are in the middle of the game, and we see scapegoats being activated by Jean-Claude, and why is he not owning tokens?
That's a good question. We also saw like the Mystical Swordsman level 2 clear out his Magical Merchant, probably in the first 2 rounds. And Dennis got a back row there. Oh, and now we got the tokens.
So it's most likely Warrior versus Gold Control, which is a matchup which is very much in favor of JCVD. And we now see Metamorphosis being activated, and there is 1000 Ice Restrict hitting the board since 2005, and now 19 years later, can you believe it?
And with priority we are getting rid of the level 2 and now got ourselves not so beefy 1000 Ice Restrict that swings in for 900 damage there.
First blood now for JCVD. If the attack connects, we don't see it yet. But maybe it connected already?
Yeah, I think we are in the main phase 2, and there was the hand sign that it's now Dennis' turn.
Yeah, so life points will be updated shortly. Life points may have a bit delay here, we excuse that. Also, it's still round 1, we are still figuring things out, but we will be experts when it's finished. Excellent Force being summoned, getting rid of 1000 Ice here. Do you have... Yeah, it's getting dealt with. But what do you think? Who's in favor now of this position?
Yeah, I think with second back row, it should be pretty even with cards in hand. Oh, there's the third back row. And we'll just... Was that? No. I think definitely the control player is in a very comfortable spot behind his 3 tokens. And has all the time to draw all the control tools he needs to slowly but surely grind the game against the warrior player, who needs a little bit of pressure with his normal summons, and so far Exiled Force and the level 2 are not the monsters that deal the most pressure against the tokens. And there we got a little set monster.
Just a quick reminder, Dennis life points are indeed on 7100. They will be updated shortly. As you just said, JCVD just setting a monster here, passing back to Dennis. Are you excited as I am? Like first round of a tournament.
And there's a tribe infecting virus, and that gets rid of all the tokens you were so comfortably sitting behind. That's a really good. And now the level 2 gets back with the Premature Burial, and that also gets rid of the Spirit Reaper that was face down. Oh man.
JCVD main decking Spirit Reaper. It's not something you see every day here, and it's a very, very good card against Warrior, but not if level 2 is able to clear it out. And that tribe really put in work here, was able to discard a useless Storm and dealing first blood to JCVD, who is now on 6-4. yeah, we will have that.
Yeah, and all these flip monsters in the hand are now not that useful, because the level 2 really puts on a lot of pressure, especially if there are two back rows that are supposedly protecting the level 2.
Tsukuyomi is a very interesting card here, because JCVD can clear both monsters potentially if he can go through the back row, but he needs to decide which monster to prioritize here. But he can't with Solemn Judgment! Oh, that was pretty offensive. And now JCVD has Light, Dark, and Grave, so a BLS could be devastating here, but he's just passing turn. So maybe we see another offensive play by Dennis, who is kind of getting away with it here. Rhoda! Wow.
Rhoda is like possibly one of the best cards he could have had here, because it's every card he owns.
Yeah, and he wants to summon Donzaluk here to increase the pressure and also get rid of one more card in JCVD's hand. And there is an upset potentially in the making. Who would expect JCVD to go down this early in this tournament?
I mean, he's known for dropping early rounds, but also it's kinda fair. Sometimes you just draw the out, and Tribe is the out to scapegoats that we are all.
But that could have been worse for JCVD, because Don only got rid of Nobleman, which is a dead card anyway in this matchup. Maybe Dennis is maining one or two flip monsters, but we didn't see it yet. So JCVD only needs to find one real answer to the board. So it's looking kind of bleak for him on the first side, but it's not that much pressure that Dennis has. Strongest monster has 1/6, so there are a lot of cards, and Tribe is a good card here. You can get rid of two warriors at once.
Yeah, and also the spy in hand of JCVD that I spotted
Second
earlier.
Solemn Judgment and the immediate scoop by JCVD.
Yeah.
Dennis going up 1-0, double judgment. That explains the judgment on Tsukuyomi, because I was kind of curious. It seemed a bit rushed, but it was definitely the correct play with the second Solemn face down.
Yeah, definitely. Like two Solemns and the Tribe. Sometimes you can't deal with that, and that's okay. I also think that JCVD drew a lot of monsters that were not that good in the matchup against the level 2. Like I said, he had spies in hand that usually are very good against Warrior, because 2000 defense is that line that Warrior can't that easily check. But the level 2 just clears out the set monster, so yeah.
JCVD just had a very passive hand, and Dennis had all the answers. He had an out to the Found Eyes, which could have brought him a lot of time. He had the Tribe, which was very important to clear out goats, because goats are a big hindrance for Warrior, because you need to apply pressure by dealing damage. And also like being able to summon level 2 back. There was a lot going right for Dennis, but we have to say really, really well played.
Yeah, of course. He could have played his hand that was an advantage in other sequences, and possibly could have not won the game. Like you can always he seemed very practiced with his deck, and yeah.
He definitely knew what he was doing, and he knew what to do in this matchup, and this was like clear out the goals, and also he had a very good awareness of the situation, like discarding Storm for Tribe, which you normally think like, why are you discarding Storm here? But Storm was completely useless in this situation. He had a lot of back row. It's generally not that good card against Ghost Control. So Dennis also, we didn't know him yet. He wants to be put on the map. This was a big step
definitely.
towards.
We are seeing that on our second monitor we see that the siding is still in progress, and what are possible answers that JCVD could now put into his deck to maybe...
The interesting stuff is I don't think he sides too much against Warrior in particular, because the matchup is really good. We didn't saw it in game 1, but matchup is in his favor definitely. And I didn't study his list. I should have maybe to prepare for that, but I think you don't know, but JCVD is hot upcoming Patreon qualifier win just 2 weeks ago.
Oh,
so
yeah,
and he already secured 2 invites this year. So he's in fact the only player who's here out of 96 players who already secured his invite. So he has less pressure than everyone else.
And yeah, maybe that's a good thing. Maybe you need the pressure to perform your best. We will see about that. So it seems like he, the players are now finalizing their decks.
Let's talk about a little bit about the tournament in general. As I said, we have 96 players in total, which is really good because we can grant free invites. There is 1 invite per 32 entrants. We had a little bit over 100 people pre-registered, so we were hoping for 100 plus players, but it didn't quite work out. But it's an amazing attendance. Like the room is packed, and you can feel the excitement in the air. It's really crazy here in.
Before the tournament, talking with the players, they all are very excited to be here today, and you have to say it's very well organized, and we had like no delay starting from check-in to start of the tournament. It was all running smoothly.
It all worked out well, and we have a really good blend of players. Like we have a few online players here like JCVD, we have a few offline players who practice Goat, and we have like completely Goat newbies. We have players who like to play Advanced or other formats and are trying out Goat. We even have one player from Peru here.
That's crazy.
Yeah, he lives in Germany, but he's from Peru. So yeah, but
you shouldn't have said that.
Yeah, but I mean, he's not just like living his whole life like here. Like he's only speaking English, but it's very cool to see. Maybe we see him later. And we have some really creative, interesting decks, which we definitely want to show you later if they do good. Yeah. One quick, because you're all interested in the metagame, Chaos Turbo is the overwhelming most played deck. We have 27 Chaos Turbos here, and the second most played deck is God Control or Chaos Control with 15.
So JCVD goes second in this, goes first in this second game.
I hope he goes first. And, he is good, but he's not that good. And we see a graze on the corner of the screen, so he's in fact that good.
Sometimes you just have to draw. Like we did not saw any Trinity pieces in game 1.
No, on both players. And JCVD decides to keep his Grace, which is a very good decision, I think, if you... Okay, yeah, we got a quick note from our operator that we have to be a bit quieter, because we can be heard in the other room. Again, we need to figure out some stuff. So if we are talking louder, like and a bit more hype, then we shouldn't tell.
Yeah.
So
definitely.
So what we will do going forward is not talking about cards that are not confirmed, basically.
Yeah.
So then we can talk loud. And we see a nobleman getting rid of Spy.
And Spy is a good hit. Like I said before, Spy is a very decent card against Warrior because of his 2000 defense deadline, and also he floats into another card that's hard to get rid of.
Probably the best card against Warrior, I would argue. And Spy is just not getting anything going this game. But let's see if Dennis has any follow-up. Best possible follow-up would be something like... But he only sets to back row, and I believe he passed already, right?
Yes.
Looking like it. So not that much pressure. Maybe no monster being picked up. Yeah, just a pass, and that's good for JCVD, who can now try to get some momentum, but Trap does shoot, getting flipped. And now we can talk about the hand, because we see it.
Yes, so we got, is it Exchange, Scapegoats, Graceful Charity?
There's no Exchange, this is a Heavy Storm, I believe. That's a Heavy Storm. That's definitely a Heavy Storm.
It looked like Exchange, from our perspective.
Yeah, we get the right decks now as well. Great. Yeah, that's great. Shout out to our operator who's doing a great job here behind the scenes. Really interesting here is the Mystic Tomato. That's possibly a card which is coming out of the side deck. because it's not that good against Turbo and Control, but very good against Warrior, because it again is a card which can float, and we see it getting shuffled back here. And now there's a very interesting decision for JCVD to make. You don't have any real discard fall in hand. Do you Grace now, or do you keep it?
I think, depending on his back row, that Grace is a possibility, because you could discard one of your scapegoats, and then you have to just get rid of another card. But you can also just wait around, because you are in no pressure situation at the moment.
The argument being made for activating Grace is that you then can draw some new cards that your opponent does not know. Because right now Dennis has almost complete knowledge about the hand of JCVD, which is a big advantage, of course. But I agree with you, I think I would have kept Grace. But you could at least argue to potentially activate it to conceal some more information.
Yes.
But the other thing is, like, JCVD is in no rush at all, because Dennis is not applying pressure.
Yes, exactly. Now JCVD set another back row, which keeps him with 3 cards in hand. So if Dennis is drawing another Trap Dust Shot, he has the possibility to get Trap Dust Shotted again in the next in the next round. But now there is a DD Warrior Lady who is trying to apply a little bit of pressure, and it gets Mirror Force out of JCVD's back row.
That was the only card we didn't knew about, so
Yes.
now Dennis has in fact full knowledge about JCVD's hand, and very curious that JCVD wants to activate Mirror Force here. I believe it is to potentially bait out a Solemn Judgment, and we can't see the screen anymore. Yes, we can now. Potentially bait out a Solemn Judgment so that his goats can go through, because my first impression would have been to just flip goats and soak up some damage this way.
Yeah, maybe he also gets rid of his Warrior Lady now to possibly like get his Spirit Reaper going, or other cards that get easily outed by the DD Warrior Lady.
That's a good point. Like, it's we are here to analyze and kind of explain to you the plays the players make. It's hard with JCVD because he's so much better than we are, so that he definitely knows better than we do.
Also, if he plays multiple Mystic Tomatoes, Mystic Tomato has a very bad matchup into DD Warrior Lady.
Yeah, you're correct with that. And so that's possibly the point. And everything that Tomato can search, like Sangans, like Reapers, as you talked about. And now we see the Grace being activated by Dennis, who gets 3 fresh cards and is in desperate need of some monsters, I believe, to apply some pressure. We talked about what JCVD could side deck. We didn't talk about Dennis. It's very likely that Dennis bought in some King Tiger Wangus, if he bought them. And they would be an excellent out against Scapegoats right now.
Yes, Wangu is in general a very good card against like the more control heavy decks, because a lot of the control monsters have very little attack points.
Let's talk about the discards, because Snatch and Call being discarded both very. There is the Wangu. We call it very first call of the day. Pat myself on the back here.
And like I said, Snatch is a card that you don't need in a situation where your opponent can't summon his monsters. Wangu also applies a lot of pressure on like cards like Mystic Tomato. You can't normal the Mystic Tomato now, and every card that's coming from Tomato. And
we see another Dust Shoot in the draw phase. So Wangu attack.
Yeah, like I called before, he has a lot of cards in hand, so he's very vulnerable to another Dust Shot.
Okay. So what I find very interesting is that Dennis elected to discard Call, because Call is a very good way to keep your Wangu, like to resurrect your Wangu, because it's like an auto win against control. But he figured out that his other cards were just better.
Yeah,
Do we still have the Grace in JCVD's hand?
I believe his Dennis' thought process was, if I have cards that protect my Wangu, I don't need it back, because if it never leaves the field, it does not have to return. So I think there might be some Solemns there, or like battle traps, like maybe Sakuretsu.
Reaper getting shuffled back. What is the card next to Heavy Storm? I can't quite make it out. It's a bit too shiny.
Yeah, it could be an Exiled Force.
Kind of looks like a Reflector Lamp, but I don't think JCVD is playing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're correct. It should be Exiled Force. Looks good. So I think now you try to Storm, maybe lure the Solemn, and then you go into Grace?
Yeah.
Or you Grace?
I think Storm Grace should be the play.
Yeah. I mean, Storm has some drawbacks here because you lose your... Okay, here next to Grace first. But
yeah, it's also a good play. Like, both options are fine. He thinks like getting new cards is a good play that might get met with one judgment. If he has two judgments, it's like irrelevant. But
okay, and we see one Solemn, so the second is very likely because now you like. This is why I would have stormed first. If there's only one Solemn, you need the new resources.
Yeah,
and I think it's better.
But if he stormed first, he would have solemned anyway, and I think he has two Solemns, and now it's a question: do I solemn the normal summon of Tribe, or do I solemn the Heavy Storm?
Yeah, I mean, no, JCVD has to Storm.
Yeah.
And then Solemn is gone either way, and then you have Tribe to clear the Wango.
I mean, he could have had the third.
He could have three, that's completely right. I mean, we saw also the very beautiful Ghost Wrath Solemn Judgment.
Yes.
It's
a looker.
It's a beauty, and it's doing really, really good here.
For our camera perspective, it's not that good that he plays Ghost Wrath because it could be another trap, and we wouldn't know.
Yeah, but
like from context, we know it's solemn, and to own one and to play one must feel very nice because it's very beautiful.
Okay, and now we see the Heavy Storm. Do we see the second Solemn? We only see a jar and a set Heavy Storm.
Heavy Storm.
Yeah, and goats also go away now. Now we see that Dennis is playing Jar, which is not... you can play it in Warrior. It is to reduce variance and now trap attacks. And this is a very exciting spot now because Dennis should be on only two cards. The card he has in hand and the card he's about to draw.
Yeah. Dennis... he changed the Jar, right?
So yeah, he changed the Jar. Yeah. And there's a Blade Knight. JCVD is all out of cards. This is looking like an early upset in the making. Blade Knight attacking the Tribe here, and JCVD still has a bit of life left, but needs to find an answer here quick. I mean, we saw Tomato and Reaver being shuffled back into decks. It would be great top decks here.
Both of them are good top decks, and the cards he does not want to draw are like his flip monsters. A Magician of Faith would be a very bad draw here. And I hate to point it out, but I think JCVD made a bit of a misplay by, like, as soon as Dennis graced, he should have at least thought about like chaining goats to grace, because it is very likely that Dennis can draw into Wangu if he has 3 draws, and this put JCVD in the very awkward spot to need to storm away his own scapegoat just to out Wangu, which then didn't quite work out. So this is kind of unfortunate. JCVD draws into a back row and just set it face down. This could be a battle trap. Sakuritsu armors might found their way into the main deck. It could be a battle trap, but just for us in the stream that he doesn't hear it, I think it's a green card.
Just don't talk about cards we may see. Let's just only speculate. I think this is better.
I speculate. Then that's my speculation. We still stare at the very beefy Blade Knight on the side of Dennis.
Which should be on 1/6 right now, because I believe Dennis has 2 cards in hand.
But he drew one of them for turn, so it could be beefy again in the next turn.
I mean, if you're Dennis, you know I have to think, and this is Ghost Rare Typhoon getting rid of Creature Swap. That was completely dead. Blade Knight taking another 2,000 out of JCVD's life points, which I don't know if they are correct. I think they should be lower, but we trust our table judge and operator here that they know what they're doing. So JCVD should be at 3-9. Has another top deck here. Needs to find. Looks into his grave. I don't believe he has Light Dark available, so Chaos Monster is not useful here.
There should be a water and an aqua. Water. Aqua is the type. Water is the.
What water monsters in his grave?
The Tribe.
Yes, Tribe. You're correct. JCVD just passes. So another blade and it's just game here. Dennis Has the field open to him? Only
But
set the
there
monster.
is set monster, no normal summon, so maybe with 2 cards in hand we could actually do something.
Yeah, let's see. This is probably a Magician or Spy. There's no other thing you would you would not set here. And now Batman will punch in for another 1000, and this would put JCVD on a 1-turn clock.
But if it is a weak flip monster, another creature swap would be a great top deck.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on what flying face down. JCVD definitely needs to drop something. He's really on the brink of defeat here.
I mean, what card would you set in this spot?
It has to be a flip.
Yeah, it has to be a flip.
Yes.
So
definitely has to. Okay, JCVD has found a breaker, which is not quite strong enough. Attacks over Magician, and now Dennis has Grace in the graveyard, which you can put into his hand. I believe our beloved JCVD is going down here. I didn't expect it, but we're looking at it. So
yeah, and it's like a strong performance for this warrior deck. Despite the bad matchup, he had all the cards and played them all in the right sequence.
He did what he had to do, and he did it really, really well.
Without hesitation, used the Solemn on the Grace, and there's a Snatch Steal that came back.
Okay, this also makes sense because Breakout still has a token, so especially you can get rid of the back row, so that was a very good play here from Dennis. Snatch we saw discarded earlier by Grace, and now making a comeback. So JCVD's back row has, I don't know what it can be, it can only be Goats. I believe Goats is the only thing which saves him here, maybe a Typhoon, but this would only buy him 1 more turn. Book could also buy him 1 more turn. But if it's a trap which can be sniped away by Breaker, then it's game over.
Yes, so if we want to see a continuation of this game, it has to be Goats.
Yes, it definitely has to be Goats. Maybe Regeki Break wouldn't do anything here because JCVD has no card in hand. And he puts his hand on the table like, yeah, I'm done. I think that's it.
But maybe he is luring him in a false sense of security. Hand gestures are a little bit of something that you have to be aware of in like paper play instead of online tournaments.
I hate the word paper play. Like I know it's used, but there's a Snatch, and now the game will be decided probably. Let's see. What is the face down card? Breaker will use his token now. Dennis is very careful here. He don't want to make a misplay this close before winning, and he just attacks. And it's a ring, and that's it.
Ring is not enough.
Dennis with the upset, winning 2-0 against Jean-Claude Van Damme with his warrior deck, which really did amazing here. And yeah, we saw the strengths of one of my favorite cards in Gold format, Wangu.
Yes, Wangu is an amazing card. Especially against the format-defining goat scapegoats, it's phenomenal.
Yes, but I think the real game winner here was Dennis was able to find 2 solemn judgments in both games.
Yes.
And they were essential to basically limit JCVD's option to that extent that he just didn't find a way out of it. So I leave you alone for 2 minutes because I want to ask our winner if he would like to do an interview.
Yes.
So you maybe ramble a bit for yourself. You can talk about the metagame or about the weather, like you want to do.
Yeah. So the weather is good today. Here in Halle we have. No, I'm kidding. But I have the metagame breakdown in a very handy chart right in front of me. And we saw one of 15 control decks and one of 9 warriors in this game. So there are more of that to come. But yeah, we have a lot of cool decks that we can feature in later rounds if they make it that far. That's the problem with cool decks. They often fall off quite easily. But maybe, I'm hoping that we are getting some good decks in the next few rounds. And yeah, we will be here with the interview shortly, but until then, this is the Grand Prix in Halle, and I think after round 1 I could do a cool Halle fact, And my first Halle fact is that I found out yesterday that the instant cake powder that is like
Backpulver.
No, it's not backpulver.
It's not backpulver?
Like the whole thing. Like you have everything and just add milk and you get a cake. That was invented here in Halle.
So the Fertigmischung.
The Fertigmischung.
The Kuchen-Fertigmischung.
I'm not sure if it has an English term, but like the instant cake powder, I'm calling it that now, was invented here in Halle. So that's my first Halle fact of the day.
Yeah,
and now we are cutting away, and we'll see you again with the interview very shortly.
No, we won't, because we won't have an interview for round 1.
Okay.
That's why you listen to me before.
Okay.
No, it's all good. We don't have an interview for round 1. We will have for later rounds. But if you want to learn more about Halle facts and also want to see some more exciting action, stay tuned. We will be back shortly with the round 2 feature match.